McLaughlin Levrone has long stood as the defining figure of the 400-meter hurdles, rewriting the record books with 6 world marks and back-to-back Olympic titles. At the Paris Games in 2024, she lowered her own standard to 50.37 seconds while collecting her second straight gold medal. Yet less than a year later, the reigning queen of the event surprised many by setting aside her trademark race for a different challenge. In Eugene on August 2nd, 2025, she stormed through the women's 400 meters in 48.90 seconds to win the U.S. national title, missing the American record by only 2 out of 10 of a second. That performance secured her place at the World Championships in Tokyo, where she will line up not in the hurdles, but in the flat 400. Her campaign in 2025 illustrates the seriousness of that endeavor. She opened her season with a 50.32 at the Grand Slam meet in Jamaica, then improved to 49.69 in Miami. By July, she had trimmed her time further to 49.43, which ranked her 6th globally at the time. The choice, according to McLaughlin Levrone, has been deliberate, rather than circumstantial. I think it felt like the right thing to do just because I want to be the best, well-rounded athlete I can be, and this is one of those challenges that I think I have been putting off for myself. She told Olympics.com before Worlds. The transition, she admitted, was not without hesitation. I wanted to step out in a different way, and so think. There was a bit of apprehension at first. Do we really want to take that step? But I want to compete, and I want to compete well and against the best and push myself to be the best that I can be. So it definitely is uncomfortable, but it's rewarding to carve new paths. The 48.90 in Eugene placed a third fastest in the world this year, trailing only Bahrain Salwa Nazer at 48.67 and Olympic champion Marilady Paulino at 48.81. This sets the stage for a fiercely contested one-lap showdown in Tokyo where McLaughlin Levrone enters as a contender rather than a presumed winner. For the 26-year-old, the flat 400 offers both opportunity and risk. Her personal best of 48.74, set at the 2023 U.S. Nationals, sits just 0.0404 shy of the national record, established by Sonia Richards-Ross in 2006. Yet unlike the hurdles where she has dominated by clear margins, the open race is crowded with athletes of near identical ability. I've learned so much this season about the 400m, about myself, about how it's so different from the hurdles, but I've loved every second of it, and I think that challenges what makes me a competitor, she told Athletics Weekly. Expectations inevitably follow her every step. Fans, conditioned by her record-breaking feats, wait to see whether another historic time will appear in Tokyo. McLaughlin Levrone acknowledges the scrutiny but resists treating each race as a record attempt. Over the past few years, the performances that we have put on have created an appetite for records whenever I step on the track, which to a degree I guess is fair, she said, but at the same time, those come when they come, and especially an event like the 400m takes time. It takes a lot of learning the event as she prepares for the World Championships beginning September 13th. At Japan National Stadium, McLaughlin Levrone confronts perhaps the most demanding experiment of her career. She has moved from the comfort of being untouchable in the hurdles to testing herself against the world's best in the flat 400. I just want to be the best track athlete I can be. And if that means it takes time to get faster in the 400m, if it takes years or whatever it is, I want to work to do that, she explained. For an athlete accustomed to breaking barriers, this new pursuit is not a retreat, but a declaration of intent, an attempt to expand her mastery across disciplines rather than remain confined to one. And now going beyond her rivals, Sydney is eyeing a bigger goal in Tokyo. Sydney McLaughlin Lev chases 400m immortality with sights set on world record. Sydney McLaughlin Levrone had already proven herself as the finest technician the 400-meter hurdles had ever witnessed. Yet in Tokyo she made it clear that her aspirations were reaching beyond the rivalry that defined the flat 400m, while Meryl Lady Polino and Solweed Nazer continued to dominate conversations about supremacy in the event. McLaughlin Levrone spoke of something else entirely, her pursuit of the world record. It's a pretty old record. Someone will definitely break it when the time comes. Everything is possible. There is no limit, she remarked, leaving no doubt that her ambitions extended past her immediate competitors. Her performances placed her within striking distance of that ambition. With a personal best of 48.74 seconds, she had already entered the top dozen on the all-time list, less than 0.2 of a second away from joining the 3 fastest women in history. The most striking part, however, was her proximity to Marita Ko's legendary 47.60, 6-0, a mark that had stood since 1985 and remained the most untouchable record in women's track. By her own admission, McLaughlin Levrone focused not on rivals' performances, but on running my own race, a statement that reflected both her discipline and her resistance to distraction. The context of her journey underscored the magnitude of her goal. Only a year earlier, a knee injury had interrupted her attempt to make the 400m her primary event, leaving Polino to claim victory in Budapest, while McLaughlin Levrone settled for second place. Yet, she returned to the track in Tokyo not to dwell on past defeats, but to insist on pursuing the one record that has long been considered unreachable. In doing so, she set her narrative apart, less a contest against Polino or Nazer. The Tokyo sun was relentless, stretching its warmth across the track where the world's best athletes prepared for another electrifying showdown. Sydney McLaughlin Levrone stood at the edge of the stadium, her eyes squinting against the light, her thoughts heavier than the sweltering August air. She was used to pressure, used to the eyes of millions, analyzing every stride she took. But as the World Championships loomed just days away, she admitted something most wouldn't expect from a reigning Olympic champion. "It's definitely uncomfortable," she confessed, in a candid moment that would ripple through the track and field community. Not the race itself, not even the expectations, those I've lived with. It's the weight of vulnerability. The idea that even when you're at the top, you're still fighting the same battles inside. The confession. For years, Sydney's career has looked polished, pristine, and untouchable. A prodigy. Since her high school days, she shattered records and collected medals, as though they were stepping stones on her path to greatness. But behind the cool composure and measured interviews, there lingered the truth. The grind of greatness is not always graceful. In her interview before Tokyo, she didn't shy away from it. She spoke about the uncomfortable space of balancing faith, fame, and ferocious competition. She revealed that being the face of a generation, an icon for young athletes who saw her as unbreakable, was both an honor and a heavy mantle. When people think, "Oh,